Hello everyone, FPL Raptor here and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix daily price change prediction video. We come to you every single evening from the Fantasy Football Fix studios to bring you the latest with respect to potential price rises and potential price falls. If you want to build up your essential team value or you just don't want to be priced out of potential moves, look no further than this series and this YouTube channel. So, without further ado, let's get into today's video. So guys, we are going to jump straight into it as always, but just wanted to say two things to start. Firstly, price changes are not an exact science. So for those of you that are new to this series, to this channel, new to price changes in general, we do not know exactly when they're going to happen. FPL do not make that data available, but we try and predict it based on our algorithm, which we've spent years creating. So please do bear with us. It isn't an exact science. It is in fact a prediction. So as always, do take them with a slight pinch of salt. And the second thing I'd like to just remind you guys of is that wildcard transfers do not count towards price changes. So in the weeks where there are lots of wildcards, number one, the data can be skewed slightly. And number two, it makes it a lot more difficult for us to try and predict the price changes because we have to firstly work out how many of the transfers are wildcard and how many are effective, i.e. not wildcard, and then take that into account in a system which already is a prediction rather than an exact science. So do bear with us in the next week or so when there are wildcards in play, but our accuracy has been pretty good lately as well. So something that someone said in the comments yesterday, and we do read the comments, is at the start of these videos, can you just go through the price changes from the night before? So I'm going to do that right now. You can see if you head over to fantasyfootballfix.com, where I'm getting this from, obviously, you can go on recent price changes and you can see the price changes from the night before. Now, remember that this happens first thing in the morning. So technically the date will be today's date because it happens at 2:30 a.m. BST. So there were quite a few price falls. I don't think any of the price falls were that noteworthy, really. You can see the full list here. The two price rises that happened last night was Antonio Rudiger went up and Ramsdale went up. And you can see by our accuracy rating here, we did predict both Rudiger and Ramsdale to go up last night. We thought that João Cancelo was right on the boundary. He looked like he might rise, he might not. He didn't actually end up rising, so we think he's instead going to rise tonight. So if we do go over to tonight's price rises and price falls, remember, you can sort by change time. At the time of recording, there are currently 5 players predicted to potentially rise in price tonight. The first of those is João Cancelo, who looks like he's going to rise in price tonight instead. He's currently over that 100% progress, and he's rising at 3.2% per hour. Obviously, I'm recording this during the City-Liverpool game, so if Man City keep a clean sheet or if Cancelo gets an attacking return, I would say with almost 100% confidence he's going to go up tonight. But as things stand, it does look like he's going to rise in price anyway. The other player is SALAH. Similarly, if SALAH does anything in today's game, then it will almost definitely go up as well. But he looks like he might be rising for the second time this season up to 12.7. And then the other 3 players are more of those sort of differential players. We've got Wilf Zaha, who is starting to return a little bit more consistently. We know he's on penalties, and Crystal Palace do have some nice fixtures coming up, and we're going to discuss fixtures in the next section. So he looks like he could go back up to 7 million, currently 6.9% owned, so he's a bit of a differential there for you. He is only rising at 0.1% per hour, though, so not many people are bringing him in. And because he's not already at 100%, I would say that there's a chance he doesn't go up. And I would say the same for Matty Cash again. Matty Cash is at 99.6, but he's only rising at 0.1% progress. So Matty Cash is another one that, yes, we're predicting him to rise in price tonight, but do keep an eye on it because there's not a lot of transfer activity there. The final one's really interesting because he's only at 65.1% progress. And again, if you're new to this series, if they're above 100% progress, that means we are predicting them to rise in price tonight. So he's only at 65.1, but he's currently being brought in by 3.8% managers per hour. So at that rate, if he continues to be brought in by thousands of managers per hour, we're saying that by the time the price changes happen, he might be above 100%. I myself, this is not the algorithm, I myself think that might be a little bit optimistic. So I think Townsend might instead rise tomorrow. But if you're on your wild card and you don't want to risk it and you think you might want Townsend in your team, just bring him in now. That's probably for the best. So that's the potential price rises for tonight. With price falls, I really don't think there are that many of interest, really. Stones is the only one, not because I think a lot of us will own him, but he's currently 5.3 million. If he can start to get his place back in that team alongside Diaz and potentially displace Laporte, then I think Stones could be a great option moving forward, and he'll go down to 5.2. So that is really nice, but for the time being, these are the predicted price falls for this evening. As you can see, I don't think there are that many of note. I would just say keep an eye on those that aren't predicted to rise tonight but look like they're close, because again, by the time I've recorded, processed, edited and uploaded this video, it might have changed. For example, Smith Rowe is at 95% progress at the time of recording this. He's only rising at 0.4%. But if some transfer activity starts to happen this evening, Smith Rowe's right on that boundary. So he's someone that could rise tonight. His fellow teammate, Tomiyasu from Arsenal, could also rise. He's currently at 93.7. So do just keep an eye on those that are potentially going to rise tonight, but look like they might rise tomorrow. Azpilicueta's another one that could rise tonight, potentially tomorrow. Vardy, who's been going under the radar massively. If you watch my transfer targets series predictions, I predicted him to be one of the top scoring players in game week 6 for the upcoming games, and he's scored in every single week since then. So he's been a great option. Huang is another one that looks like he might rise in price soon, but again, these do look like they're going to be tomorrow. And Doucouré, Townsend's colleague, and plays for Everton as well. He looks like he might also, teammate is the word I was looking for. Doucouré looks like he might rise tomorrow as well. And also there are potentially a few fallers which are on the boundary of maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. Ronaldo, Torres, Pogba, Greenwood, Luke Ayling. All of these players are quite heavily owned, but again, they look like they're going to rise, fall in price tomorrow. So if I just skip back to the ones tonight, it looks like at the moment, Cancelo, Salah. I'd say Cancelo and Salah to me are the two most definite to rise tonight, but again, we're not 100% sure. And then after that, Zaha, Cash and Townsend. And I would keep an eye on Smith Rowe and Tomiyasu as well. So those are the predicted price rises and price falls for this evening. We're now going to move on to a bit of a discussion around fixtures so that we can look at who we should be including on those lovely wildcards. So as I said, this final section is just going to be taking a look at the fixtures over the next 6 game weeks. We might look a little bit more long-term as well. Just for those of you that are either making some transfers or on your wild card, potentially trying to look at some teams which we haven't necessarily thought about or which teams we should definitely be targeting, and also which teams we should be offloading players from. So on the Fantasy Football Fix website, if you go to Fixture Analyzer, you can sort by defensive difficulty or attacking difficulty, and you can also sort by the squad you've got, so your defense and your attack. So you can work out which players you want to bench, bring in, take out, etc. So what I would say, interestingly, attacking difficulty-wise, and this is going based off the underlying statistics, Arsenal have the best fixtures for the attackers. So if you're looking to bring in a budget midfielder or a budget attacker coming up, which we are going to discuss in a video on Tuesday. So I'm going to be bringing out a video on Tuesday looking at mid-priced midfielders or budget midfielders for our wildcards. But Arsenal look like the team, and you've got Smith Rowe, Saka, Erdegaard. You have a few options from Arsenal. You can see they've got Palace, Villa, Leicester, Watford. Liverpool in 12 is not great, but then Newcastle in 13. So if you're looking to bring in a player with the best fixtures, Arsenal do look like a really decent shout. We obviously know how good Chelsea's fixtures are. I've been speaking about them for a while, and that's why Lukaku is going to be such a great captaincy option moving forward. So I'd definitely be bringing in Lukaku sooner rather than later. Doesn't look like he's going to rise in price tonight at the time of recording, but I do think he'll get a price rise soon, and the fixtures just look great for Chelsea. Southampton are another interesting team. You've got El Yunusi, Armstrong. You do have a few good options, even like Livramento. Southampton's fixtures coming up are great. Leeds, Burnley, Watford, Villa, Norwich in the next 5 are so nice. And I'm heavily considering Adam Armstrong on my wildcard as a result of that. Brentford are another team that have been going under the radar. And I think they might go under the radar a little bit on wildcard as well because of that fixture against Chelsea in game week 8. I think a lot of people will be put off by the Brentford's fixtures. But after that, they've got Leicester, who have not been great recently. Conceded another couple of goals again today against Crystal Palace. Then Burnley, Norwich, Newcastle, Everton. The fixtures are really nice for Brentford. So the likes of Mbomo and Tony, they are fantastic options as well. And they're both very cheap as well. Outside of that, if we take a little scroll down and we look at which teams have the worst fixtures from an attacking perspective coming up, you can see West Ham and Man United are the worst too. So if you own the likes of Greenwood, Pogba, Benrahma, potentially like Fornals, Bowen, and even maybe Antonio, now might be the time to ship them out. The reason I say maybe Antonio is because his underlying statistics are so good. Like, he's the sort of player that you could keep through the tougher fixtures. But if we look at West Ham, Everton, Tottenham, Villa, Liverpool, Wolves, City, would you prefer someone like Jimenez? If we scroll up to Wolves fixtures, would you prefer Villa, Leeds, Everton, Palace, West Ham and Norwich? Jimenez's stats aren't as good as Antonio's, but the fixtures are significantly better. So I really like moving to this fixture analyzer, specifically when I'm playing my wildcard, but also when I'm making my moves, because I might not have considered just how good Arsenal and Southampton's fixtures are, and maybe a team like Brentford. To me, in my head, I'm thinking like Leeds fixtures are really good coming up, but if we take a look, they're like 8th or 9th for the best attacking statistics coming up or attacking difficulty for the fixtures. So I really like doing that. If we switch to defensive difficulty, it's just worth pointing out that the fixtures do change, right? It's completely different for attacking versus defensive. And it's really interesting that Norwich are right at the top. The fixtures that they've got coming up, the teams that they're defending against are actually pretty poor. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend bringing in a Norwich defender. However, Southampton are a team that have defended fairly well so far. We've seen that consistently. They kept a clean sheet against City. They actually did a fantastic job against Chelsea until the red card. But they've got Leeds, Burnley, Watford, Villa, Norwich over the next 5, as we've spoken about the Armstrong section. So Livramento looks an absolute budget enabler. He looks a dream at 4.2 million. I know he's gone up a couple of times, but he still looks great. You could even potentially go for McCarthy in goal. Brentford pop up again, and Brentford have been great defensively. You could go for someone like Pinnock. So I just want to say that there are some teams that are potentially going under the radar, and I think potentially I would say Arsenal, Southampton and Brentford are 3 teams that I would look for those budget enablers coming up that I would be targeting in my wildcard. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Obviously, you can do your own research as well, but looking at potential players that might be going up soon, I am looking at Smith Rowe. I've got Smith Rowe in my wildcard currently, and even if you're not sure that you definitely want to bring him in, I might bring him in anyway, just in case you want him in the future, because he does look like he's going to be rising in the next couple of days, definitely. So guys, there you have it. Those are the predicted price rises and price falls for this evening, as well as a little bit of a discussion around wildcard and fixture swings. If you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. It really helps us so much. We've just hit 30,000 subscribers, which we are so proud about and so happy about too. And just another friendly reminder that price changes are not an exact science. They are in fact a prediction. So as always, especially when wildcards are in play, please do take them with a pinch of salt. But until next time guys, thank you very much. Bye bye.